First story. Starting out again. So I am a 41 years old male. 2 months ago, my wife, 43 years old female, admitted to cheating on me with a co-worker, 47 years old male of hers. Long story short, she moved put with her clothing. We talk sometimes, we have an apartment and cats to take of. Last time we talked, she could not help but talk about her new boyfriend. Nice guy, loads of problems, she says. Then she says she still loves me, and will always loves me, and she does not think that any other man she dates will measure up to the way I treated her in our marriage. I treated her like a queen. I wasn't perfect, but I tried hard for her. I know she is with him and doing whatever. Not my problem. Hard not to think about it. I am just scared to start over again and to ever date again, because I feel like I am too old and damaged now. Of course, there are parts of this story that you are missing out on, as I cannot bring understanding and context to those missing parts in a written chat. But one of the reasons why I think she confided in me about this, even though I didn't ask, is that she really doesn't have anyone to talk to that knows her and understands her like I do. When she started talking about him, it was my fault that I allowed it to continue. I have to set up boundaries. I have to enforce those boundaries when we speak about things. I don't think she hid it for years. She did hide the fact that she met this guy outside of work while I was at work over the course of 2 months, but how much I don't know. When we speak, I can tell she is holding back stuff. You're right. Every week, there may be something new. That was one reason she stated, but after doing research and going over all conversations before the revelation, she always tried to please everyone before herself, including me. When a person does this, they end up forgetting themselves. Update. A source of fear and anxiety. Me, male, 41. 4 months ago my wife admitted to having an affair with a co-worker. She then probably moved out to this new guy's place for a couple of weeks, moved to a friend's place for a brief period, then 2 months later moved in with this new man of her in her life. AMD reports that she now has a new life and has moves on. Side note, her new BF is in rehab for substance abuse, which she was fired from his job for. Also, he has an addictive personality, a silver tongue, and said all the right things to charm my ex's pants off. I want to hope that it's not going to work out, but maybe I'm wrong. Since I am a man and a visual creature, during the day and while I'm asleep, nightmares, images will pop into my head of my wife having sex with this other man and doing all sexual activities with him that she did with me once. This is one of those sources of my anxiety that I have to work through, or at least admit to myself that it is happening, but I don't know if it is happening or how it is happening. Another source of my anxiety is that I have not had sex in 4 months, and I fear that I will never have sex again with a female. Or at least it will be a long time before I have sex again. This causes me a great amount of stress and anxiety. Am I crazy for thinking this way? Maybe. But in lieu of not having sex, I'm trying to do my best to work on myself and to get through this massive betrayal that has happened in my life. Reorganize my life and let go of my ex and move on. Divorce. I want to let you know a little. I have been going to a therapist and forcing myself to go out and do things. I have also decided that even though I have a great job, for my mental health, I will give it up and move back home to reset. As for your HR idea, I know this as I actually worked there once. They don't care unless it affects their image. Update. I don't get my ex or woman in general. Quick recap. My wife admitted to falling in love with another man once, a divorce, moved out, moved in with a new guy, and just recently finally moved all of her stuff out, plus the cats we raised together. Not the same as to kids. In total 5 months of this, along she would call or talk to me still like I was her husband and best friend. Now, after she finally moved out, I went total no contact with her. It has been more than a week. However, last night I found that she called me 5 times plus sent me a number of texts asking if I was okay. Then this morning she calls me another 4 times and sends me another text asking me if I was still alive. I don't know what her game is. She is no longer my problem. And the only time that we will have anything to do with each other is when we are dealing with lawyers. And finally when she signs the divorce papers, as well as I. My head hurts just thinking about this shit. I wish I had gone no contact sooner. However, I was in love and desperate to keep my marriage together, but didn't see the writing on the wall, that it was over and then she would never come back to me. But since there's no contact, it seems like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I can now get on with the process of moving forward and rebuilding my life at 41. Over the last 5 months, I have struggled with watching her back and asking myself the question, could I take her back? But I have too much self-respect and dignity now to say yes, I want you back. Also, hypothetically, if I did take her back, I doubt I could stop myself from imagining every once in a while her ass on the air, and this other man pounding and her sucking on it. Funny and sad fact, about a week after she left for the other guy, she came back to the apartment we were in. AMD said she had made a big mistake, but his was after she had sex with him. Then 2 months later, while at the apartment again, she said she was sorry for the whole situation, but that still did not stop her from moving in with him and starting a new life. Fun fact, this new guy in her life is currently in rehab for an addiction to sleeping pills. That is a precursor in him getting his job back. But I, the steady guy who goes to work, comes home, loves his family, pay taxes, was never enough. I wash my hands of this shit. Since her affair partner is still in rehab, she's on her own at the moment. A sick part of me wants to stick around where I am to see what happens when her affair partner and her really start living together. However, that's not my problem because I'm moving on and I'm moving out of the city where this shit all took place. Is there something wrong with me? Maybe, maybe not. They are very interesting perspective on this whole healing process for myself. What I can report is concerning my anger. It fluctuates from being angry with myself for the mistakes that I made during the marriage, to anger at my ex, to angry at this new boyfriend of hers that broke up our marriage. And the cycle repeats itself again and again. I have good days and I have bad days, so like I have said in post before, I take it one day at a time, 1 hour at a time. Being an emotional punching bag. As in the early days of this revelation, an atomic bomb that was blown up in my life, I still treated myself and understood life as a husband to my ex, not really realizing that I was no longer a husband to my ex, not in a real sense. However, when she would call me up or meet with me and go over the boundaries which I said, I came to the realization that she still saw me as her best friend and confidant, even possibly as her husband. And she did on many occasions say how shocked she found herself to be in love with 2 men at the exact same time, and wanting to be with both of us. She just had to figure out a way for that to happen. So of course, she suggested an open marriage. But after I shut that door really quickly, she posited by saying she was just joking, but I actually think she was serious. Rubbing your face in it is not something I'm likely to do, as that's not my style. What my style is to regroup, work on myself, and move on in life. Maybe one day I'll find another woman worthy of spending my time with, and my life with, if such a woman exists. But until then, I'm going to live my life as spectacularly as possible and fill it with love, kindness, and adventures. The final big blowout we had with each other in that conversation, she mentioned, I can't wait for him to get out of rehab. She said that and many other things, and a 100% believer, so I hope she is fun. That indeed may be the case, but I don't really know, nor do I care. Because what I'm slowly working towards is working on myself to repair the damage that has been done, and maybe, God willing, find another woman that would love me for me, be the only one for me, and want to build something spectacular with me in our lives. I've imagined this very same question myself. It has also haunted me day after day. Since I am a man and a visual creature, I don't think I can get over the fact that another man has pounded on my wife, so to speak, and she willingly stuck her lower half in the air for that guy. Pardon me for being so gratuitous. Mental breakdown, I don't know. However, from my perspective, 4 months ago, a woman appeared in the form of my then wife but who was not my wife, and I did not recognize this person. And she started acting in a way that I did not know or could possibly understand. Maybe this is just the natural evolution of the woman that was my wife. This guy comes from her work. He was a co-worker of hers who, when my wife was feeling very insecure and thought she did not have any agency in her life, he comforted her. She also reports she was the one who pursued him, not him to her. She also reported that she would emotionally dump on this guy and have intimate conversations with him, conversations that she should have had been with me. At the end of these conversations, she would be crying, and he, being the man, would step in and say, "Can I give you a hug?" As for how long it was happening, I suspect 2 months or longer before she admitted to the affair, but actually, it could have been going on a lot longer than I thought. She's never really discussed it, nor do I care to hear it. An hour before attending a church service, she asked me for a divorce. Then, on the way home, she admitted that she had feelings for another man and had been seeing him outside of work while I was at work. We got back to the apartment or home, talked. Then when I was done talking and tired and worn out from the conversation, she said she was leaving, left the apartment and went into the arms with his other man. I know they will care for, cause she really does actually care for the cats. However, I have pictures of them on my phone, and I was looking at them the other night and my heart just sank. The only quantum of solace I have is that I did a damn good job protecting those cats and raising those cats. They're not quite human children, but they're the closest thing that I'll get to having human children. I, like you in my marriage, did a lot of the work. To be fair, my ex did a lot of work as well, but I always put her first, and I always took that seriously, even to the point of never talking with other women in a personal way. For me, it felt and still feels like the last 10 years, 7 years married, was a waste of my time, and then every good deed that I did and bad deed as well was for nothing. Just going over your notes on the situation that you're currently in. You're not the respectable one, although you may have respect and be a respectable person. But in the situation, you're the responsible one. You are putting the needs of your children before yourself, as any caring father would for their children. It is a pity that your wife puts her own selfish desires before that of her family, and especially that of the children that she bore out of her own body. Furthermore, and I know this feeling well, your wife, she may be your GF. Not communicating with you and not even bothering to talk with you is incredibly immature, hurtful, and downright fucking stupid. When you say that, what comes to my mind is a questions. Where does she think the children are going? In her mind, I wonder, do they cease to exist? Don't accept her excuse that is a midlife crisis. That sounds similar to what my wife is going through right now. But there's a way of handling a midlife crisis, and then there's making a choice to cheat. And what I've understood over the last 5 months, it is just that, a choice. Your wife, like my wife, chose to cheat. And there is absolutely no excuse for cheating. I have not received any calls from her tonight or any text messages, unless you count the text messages she sent me this morning while I was asleep asking me to call her. I have not responded to anything. Hopefully she's gotten the message to stop trying to get into contact with me until I'm good and ready. I have not blocked her because the country I live in, I can't file for divorce until we have been living separately for a year. Also, she's making things hard by not wanting to talk about the divorce or the logistics that go with it. I know that she has not fully thought about the consequences of her actions or what a divorce actually entails. I am not taking her back and will not. I am moving away from the city where she is. Actually, I kinda hope it works out for her. She is 43 and he is 47, has addiction problems and has never been married. As for me, I am 41. I think I still have some time left to find somebody else, but more importantly, I get to choose a new life and reinvent myself. It will suck not being able to have sex for a while, but shit happens. I don't have life insurance yet. However, I do have a pension which she will be entitled to some of it. Also, funny thing, years ago I started a pension for her, and have been contributing to that over time because at the time she was not setting herself up for the future. In hindsight, that might have been a bad thing, but I had no way of knowing what would happen in the future. Long story short, I was chummy with her in an effort to win her back, futile effort. Then, about 8 days ago, she came by the apartment and she had a blow up. In the conversation we had, she tried every angle to justify what she had done to me. It's also included telling me about her sex life with her new boyfriend, as well as saying sex was every day and blowjobs for every day. Her rationalization for doing this was to help me move on by making her the villain. After she left, I retreated to another place for a while because I couldn't take the strain on my emotions anymore. While I was away, she moved out, and when I came back, I went no contact because I had had enough of this shit. Update. Has anybody had to give up their job and move after their wife cheated on them? I'm sitting here tonight second guessing myself. I made the decision more than a week ago to give up a good government job that was starting to grow, but that job was in a place where not all my family lived. I had moved to that city so my wife could be near her family. Then she cheated on me, as you will know to see from past posts. I made the decision also to move from that city back to my parents' place in order to heal and rebuild my life. Some of the reasons which led me to leave this good job were the fact that I could not afford rent on my new place alone, nor really anywhere in that city without struggling. The government job didn't pay much, and there was no guarantee of consistent hours each and every week. So my parents proposed the idea that I move to their place temporarily, and like I said, restart my life. Has anyone ever had to do the same or been in a similar situation to mine? I'm leaving the city where she and him are, taking control of my future, in living by my terms. There's no guarantees, but what you and I both have right now is our dignity. That is what I thought. I was in that city an apartment where I was being haunted by all the memories we had made over the years. Here is to new begins for the both of us. If you remember and want, updated me on your progress. If not, I wish you all the best in the world. I should clarify, when I said she and him, I'm referring to my cheating wife, now ex-wife, and her new boyfriend that she moved into with. Your words ring true, and that was my thinking. Yes, I am leaving my life that I had built with my ex. Well, the parts that were not destroyed by her, with nothing except my life, dignity, and soul, and starting new. You're right, it will suck, but it is better than staying put and not moving forward. Coming out the other side, I have to remember for myself that I only have another 3 weeks in the city where this all took place, that I am moving and restarting again. I spent this past weekend in my new place, and I got the feeling that I loved it out there. It's expensive as shit, may not be long term, but for right now, it's a place I can call home. Not least to mention, my family actually lives there. Thank you, brother, and I wish you all the best. Update. Meet with a divorce lawyer this morning to give me advice and counsel on my case. From the information I gave her, the divorce will be straightforward, as my ex and I did not have any kids and no house or property. Plus, if the divorce is uncontested by my ex, then it is all just a matter of time and a lot of paperwork. However, if my ex wants to make things harder, currently right now she has a better job than I do and makes more money. Therefore she may owe me alimony. Currently, however, I have more personal value as I own a car, which is considered an asset. Then my lawyer wrote out all the steps I need to take in order to get my divorce finalized. She gave me a lot of useful advice and information. After the conversation, I got in touch with my ex to close down the joint account we both shared with each other, but not before I was able to empty it of my share before my ex closed it down. So as it stands right now, I'm in a waiting period before I can file the paperwork for our divorce, plus talking to her on the phone and informing her of all the information I needed to give her. She kept asking me personal information as to what my life was like. Was I staying in our apartment? Was I leaving with anyone? Did I have a new job? And this and that. The only answer I gave to her was it's all been handled. This one phrase, which I kept repeating to her when she asked questions, seemed to piss her off. Then at the end of the conversation I told her I had to go, and she said goodbye in a very pissy way. I did get the feeling that the questions regarding my personal circumstances were a bit much, and why the hell was she asking? But maybe you're right. However, I am leaving the city where she is. It seems my STBX also cheated down. I hope it works out for her and that she gets all that she wants. But I would have given her the world. I actually thought she did care that much. However, she didn't care enough not to cheat. Also today, or should I say this past week, I'm starting to come to the point of indifference. I'm not as mad as it was at the beginning of the oldest ship. And at some points today I've stopped thinking about her and the situation I'm in. I hope it continues to progress. Also, thank you for your good words. It became clear after about 3 to 3.5 months that I was still meeting her emotional needs, while her AP was meeting her physical needs. That has now ended, and I no longer tolerate that crap. So I say good luck to her when she really starts living with her AP. She's a very high-maintenance woman. When she's not getting any attention she gets bored really quickly. But like you say, not my problem anymore. I'll keep moving forward. She's in the past and that's where she's going to stay. Remember the good times, but if she ever comes we're knocking on my door, remember the day that she walked away. I hope you have a good evening. Actually, she was on the phone with me regarding my mother-in-law and the ice cream machine. Apparently, my mother-in-law wants it back. I just said oh okay. Update. The sun is starting to shine through the darkness. Quick recap. My wife admitted to falling in love with another man. Fucked him. Wants a divorce. Moved out. Moved in with a new guy. And took my cats. Also, for the last 4.5 months she kept talking to me. She would mainly talk about us, and how she is still in love with me, and at the same time saying she loved him. Also, she kept talking affectionately about him. Little tidbits of information about their sex life, and her new life. In our conversations, like I was still her friend husband. Fucked up, I know. Anyways, it's almost the end of August, more than 2 weeks ago. Should have done it sooner. I went no contact with her after she moved all of her stuff out of my apartment. She has called twice, first time, to ask me a whole bunch of questions and make conversation. I shut her down and wouldn't answer her questions. The next time she called was so we can sort out our joint account. She took half the money in the joint account, and now I haven't heard a word from her since. I'm not going to lie. Part of the day I do think about the situation, her, and her choices. I try not to. But then the other half of the day I stop thinking about her, and become indifferent or uncaring about her. I said to her once that we will always have a spark between us no matter who we were with in the future. We had a very codependent and co-loving relationship. But now that I think about it, that was a lie. I don't feel any kind of love or spark for her anymore. Because every time I do I remind myself of how horrible, hurtful, and cruel she was during her cheating and breakup with me. Also the fact that the person that I once knew is not the person that is metaphorically standing in front of me anymore. So when I do think about her, I get mad for a second and then move on. I see that my time is better spent trying to rebuild my life, doing the work necessary to deal with the trauma in my life, and taking care of my mind and my body. My confidence may have been shattered, however it was not destroyed. And every day I get some semblance of my confidence back. And I'm now able to stand up tall, hold my head high, and smile and tall with woman again. I also have daydreams that maybe one day, I will meet another woman worthy of loving and who is worthy to give my love to. But until such a day comes, I will live my life the best that I can. Love those people in my life who want nothing but the best for me. And treat everyone with kindness and humility. Like I said, there is good days and bad days, but there is hope for the future. To anyone who is currently in darkness due to a partner, husband, wife who cheated on them, know that at some point the darkness will recede and the light will shine again in your life. Hope, love, and respect to all who listen this. Plans are in motion to move out and away from the city. I gave up my good government job, but I have to think about what is best for me. Being in a place where the STBX and her new BF are all retreating to a safer place to rebuild to life. It sucks this happened at 41, but that is life, I guess.